Hello and welcome back to The Fostered. I am your host, Angel Foster. Today we have a very special guest, if not the most special guest, because this woman signs my paychecks. So that automatically makes her the most special, but not just because of that. I have been a huge fan of Jessamyn for years, and 2 years ago, through a post on Instagram, she said she was hiring. I applied, got the job, and working with her for these past 2 years has literally been a dream come true. I could not ask for a better place to work. Like, whenever I'm telling my friends about where I work and who I work for, they are instantly jealous, and I'm sorry. Hate me. I'm God's favorite, clearly. No, I'm just kidding. I am so grateful for Jessamyn coming on this podcast. Even when I started this, before I started working with her, she was on my list of dream guests. And so the fact that today she is on The Fostered, I am just truly overjoyed. I wanted to approach this conversation a little bit differently than maybe interviews you've heard from Jessamyn in the past if you're a fan of her. I feel like there's so many stories on how she got started in yoga, but being someone that works with her, I just wanted to maybe give a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain and go a little bit deeper. And so I hope that you appreciate my different approach with this conversation today. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. Here is my conversation with Jessamyn Stanley. So excited and honored to have you here on The Fostered. I've been wanting to ask you for so long, but I think I just had like a lot of anxiety because of how big of a deal you truly are. And I think I forget it because we're in proximity with each other, but it's like, I Googled you the other day. I was like, fuck, Jessamyn is like a big deal.
I feel like that's part of what I really appreciate about our relationship is that like, it's just so... I'm excited to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm honored that you would ask me because I respect your work so much. And I feel like I can't be me without you. So that I'm like, okay, in anything, like, I just don't know. Plus, like, I think that accolades are really hard because you can't feel it, or at least it's like you can, but not really. And so whenever it's about that, I have a hard time showing up fully as myself. And I appreciate that there's a space here where that can happen. So like, I'm just excited to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of accolades, you have had already such a big year. You had your first collection with Adidas.
Oh my God.
Now you have your Women's Health magazine on the stands. You have brand new classes at the Underbelly. How is all of this landing for you currently?
Oh my God. I'm so on the hustle that like, it's really hard. Like, it's hard for me to feel it in the moment because I'm just like, so, okay, on to the next thing. Okay, so like what's coming up next? And I think also at this point in my career, I'm like doing so much managerial work that like, I'm just in the day-to-day of it. And it's really nice when there's a moment when I can be like, oh my God, this is a big deal. Or like, that's really cool. But mainly I'm just like, oh shit, we got a fire over here. I got to figure that out. Oh my God. Okay. What's going on over here? It's like every day there's something going on, but I think actually that is amazing in and of itself and like really fun and exciting. And like the whole reason to do it ultimately is just to like feel embodied and excited to go to work I'm excited to go to work every single day. Like, it's scary as fuck. And that's another thing that like this point is like, because I think there's a point with like turning your side hustle into your real job, into your like real job where it's like, it just gets to be really scary ultimately. And it's like I remember, like, okay, so before I started teaching yoga full time, I worked in a restaurant and I evaluated writing assessments during the day. And both of those jobs were like, they were not covering all my bills. I was working 100% of the time. And then like right when I started teaching, I was teaching like a full slate of classes all week. And then I would also travel on the weekends to
How
go
old
teach.
Were you at this time?
I'm like your age. Maybe I was, okay, I started teaching yoga in 2015. It's 2023 right now. So that's 8 years ago. I'm 35. So 27, is that right?
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
I'm like,
so, I think, yeah, but it was like, but on the weekends I would go teach these workshops and like, it was just the sort of thing where I was like, how am I going to actually hold all of this? And there came a point where it's like, I have to quit these day jobs so that I can do this for real. And it felt like I was like stepping off into the unknown. I was so scared. I was like, this is not okay. And I don't even remember that fear that much because it was so quickly just turned into like, and then you figure it out. And then it's fine. And then this is good. And like, that's how I feel now, is that like we're at a whole other level. Like so much shit has happened, but it's still the same thing. It's still just like, okay, you figure it out. Okay. And that feeling is so exciting and thrilling, but it is scary. And I think that accepting the fear is the part that I'm learning the most about right now.
I love that so much. I feel like too, people don't even really know like how you got started with the Underbelly. It was just like this app just popped up, and mainly because the lack of self promotion
literally
that you have done around it.
Yo.
I remember first working, and then you in your comments you would be like, hey, you should check out this other teacher. And I'm like, are you never going to promote your own app? But that's just who you are as a person. You were just like all about community. And I love that so much about you, but it's like, okay.
There's a bunch of shit there though. I mean, there's like never being taught to promote myself, like always being taught to be like humble, don't talk about yourself. And like, I think there is some like, I don't know how much of this is like growing up fat, Black, queer in the South, but like, it just was not, I was not trained to love myself and to respect myself. And that has been a major hindrance as in terms of marketing, because it's like, you have to tell people about yourself. You have to be open. And yeah, okay. But so going back, you asked like, how did the Underbelly come to be? Is that the question? Or like, yeah, totally. So I had been teaching yoga on another platform. I guess I can just tell you, it's now called Aloe Moves. At the time, it was called Cody app. I'd been teaching on Aloe for a couple years, and I just had a few different experiences while I was there that made me think that it was important for me to start my own community.
It's a very different community.
It is, yeah. And I mean, and it's no shade.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's no shade. I mean, basically, it's run by white men, or at least it was at the time. And I just started to feel at a certain point like their show pony. I felt like they would like cart me out when they wanted to get the fat Black audience, and I was like, I just don't want to spend my life this way. And I think there's a lot of different ways to say that is not like offensive to anybody, but that's how I felt. And I also noticed that there were no digital communities that really specifically were focused on just being yourself. Everything is about changing your body somehow or changing a part of your life. But I was like, what would it be like for us to have a community where like it's just okay to show up how you are and who you are? And I had never done anything in tech before. I didn't have any experience, but I had worked with a manager who I was like, I think that she could help me run this. I think that she could know how to bring people together. And neither of us know about how to build an app, but we could figure it out. And I feel like that's the ethos with everything in life, is like, you just figure it out. It's not that big of a deal.
And you never give Mary her credit, because you're always like, I worked with this manager, but Mary has been on the podcast, so we're about to give Mary her flowers.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes, Mary Carr. Yes, Mary Court Carr. She was my manager at Mateo Tapas Bar, and she was... So the reason that I wanted to work with her is that she was hard on me. Like she was like, I got so pissed at her so many times. Like I disagreed with decisions that she made. And then at the end I'd be like, damn, she knew what she was doing. Like I didn't have to like it. But then when I was thinking about starting this company, I was like, I need somebody who's not afraid to be strong and to be powerful. And like, yes, she doesn't have tech experience. No, neither of us have ever started this kind of business, but that kind of skill of just like knowing how to connect with other human beings is really valuable. And I feel like being on team with her has been one of the most profound experiences of my life. And I don't know about you, but like, I'm not that great at teamwork. Like I am, but like I like to be right. I like to know the answer. Sometimes like delegating can be challenging for me because I'm like, I think that I already know, or like I can figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. And working with her has been this really incredible learning experience, just to like get real with myself and to be more vulnerable and more honest in general in life.
Hearing you talk about this is making me think about everybody that's on the team currently. And it's like, you are just so good at like picking these like kind of random flowers and then just putting us all together. Cause like the team is so cool, and how it's like evolved. Like I'm like, every time I look at everybody on the Google Meet, I'm like, I can't believe I get to work with this many cool people, and just seeing what people do like outside of themselves. Like everybody shows up to work as a full human. Like it's not like the work is like their main thing. It's like you really allow us to like live our lives, and because of that we get to fully show up as ourselves at our job. I mean, even this meeting our meeting earlier today was so chaotic. Jessamyn called me out because my face was telling a different story than I guess what I was saying, and she's like, what's going on in your face? And I honestly feel like that was like peak, because we're both Cancers, but you're a June Cancer and I'm a July Cancer. And I feel like June, because when you called me out, I was like, Jessamyn does literally the same thing, but like it was the June Cancer in you that was there to call me out. What'd you say?
Wait, so a July Cancer would not call out, is what you're saying?
A July Cancer, I feel like, would say everything she needed to say like afterwards.
Oh, interesting. Totally. Oh my God. Yeah. I really have never thought about that, but I do think that I do feel like June Cancers and July Cancers are very different. And we've talked about this because I feel like you're very Leo cuspy. You know what I mean? Like, and
we're leaning towards that Leo. You're leaning towards that
Gemini, bubbly, like, let's say it. I'm excited. Like, that's totally my thing. Is like, well, my thing also is I feel like it's really hard in those spaces because everybody is really cool, because we're all like have strong opinions. I feel like it can be hard to say what you think sometimes because it's like, it's scary. And I feel that feeling. And I'm like, okay, your perspective is like invaluable. Like on the topic of bringing flowers together, it's like, this flower has to be here and I need to know what is in your head right now. And like, I feel like just being able to be in space with people like that is a gift that I never thought about in this work. It's like when you become a yoga teacher, it's so I think that anytime that you like set out on a quest on your own, you're not necessarily thinking about like the other people that are on their own quests that you will get to work alongside. But like, so that when I became a yoga teacher, which is in and of itself a hermitage experience, like it is a solo road, I was not thinking about working with other people. And it has been a head trip. You are like one of my greatest teachers because you are so like, no, say it straight. Like, what is it that you want? What do you need? Like, don't stand in the shadows. Don't like I wouldn't have thought about life that way had we not met. And I think that that's just something, having that kind of teacher in my life, like even just thinking of each person on the team as a teacher, I didn't think about that in starting the company, but it is really like the best part, just getting to work with other cool people.
Everyone on the team is definitely a teacher to me. Yeah. I think just thinking about everybody, I've just picked up so many gems, and it affects me beyond the work that we do. Like it allows me to show up a lot differently, and I feel a lot more empowered. And it's just so special to me because obviously I was a fan of you, and then you posted that you were looking for a content creator or a social media manager, and then it's just crazy that to go from like seeing someone digitally and then being in space and community with them is like kind of
how is it for you? Like, what is it like?
It makes me feel like I am like a manifestation badass. Like,
yeah,
I feel
that's
like
exactly right.
It feels like Oprah AF.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. Literally though. And like, I think that about you. You're a very powerful conjurer. Like, you're like, no, I want this thing to happen, and it will happen. Like,
it's scary though.
Yeah, totally. No, it is scary. Well, like, say more about that. I'm just curious.
I think sometimes I don't always want to like lean into my power, and then I like get in my own way. And I think that's what's scary for me. And it's like, so now I'm kind of in a space of like, because last year was kind of wild as far as like all like we went to Africa.
Oh my God.
We went to
no, we did. Oh my God. New Mexico, Africa, LA, wow, New York. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, I forgot.
And
It
so those
happened
were
so
like
fast.
big things that happened. And now I'm just sitting in this place of like, okay, I don't know what I really want now. Because like, so much happened so quickly.
Oh my God.
Have you ever experienced anything like that? I mean, I feel like you...
I have, but I think I have a different reaction to it. I just really, I love momentum. I love my Jupiter is in Aries. Like I go fast all the time and I don't even remember. I literally didn't remember the things that happened last year. I was like, what did we do? I forgot. But like, just, so there's a piece of that though that I think is helpful. Like I remember listening to Michelle Obama say that she doesn't remember the bad things. Like she doesn't hold on to bad stuff. And like she'll look back at parts of her life and she'll be like, oh yeah, there was that bad thing that happened, but I don't know, who cares really? And like I just keep moving even with good things because it's like I just want to be in it and then move on. And I don't know, because I think that what I want has changed so much over the course of my life that like I just can't really. And I was saying this the other day, like I didn't plan for this part of my life. Like I didn't think about 35 at all. I didn't think about life past 26 actually. 26 is when I was supposed to finish graduate school. I dropped out when I was 25, but like I didn't think about life past 2013. And now it being like 2023 and this being what it's like, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't plan for it because I would have shorted myself. I would have undersold the outcome. And it's nice to just let it ride, I think.
Do you think your yoga practice really helps you staying present? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Like, I think that I actually don't think I could do this work without practicing yoga. And I think there's a piece of that that's like, you started practicing yoga, you have to keep doing it in order to do this. But like, I wouldn't be balanced. I wouldn't be present. I wouldn't be able to roll with the punches. And there have been so many punches, like, I mean, like to the jaw, to the gut, like a knife in my back, stomach. So much bad shit has happened. And the only way to like actually be able to keep rolling through that, especially because I think that like being so counter to what people expect to see in this industry, like being fat and black on the cover of Cosmopolitan and like on Self and like in all of this shit is very, very lonely. And I think that like you look at it and it's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And it's like, it's scary. Like I'm out on the longest diving board by myself. And I think that being able to just like have some kind of regular practice that I can return to, that has been really a requirement. And it's not even about like I would have to do this shit whether or not I teach yoga. Like my mental health would not be right. That plus therapy are like, I don't know how I would be able to do this work, honestly.
That is so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like keeping it real.
I appreciate that so much. And what you're saying is kind of making me think about something you spoke about in your book. That I've been thinking about how to recreate on a much less drastic level. You talked about getting thrown off a scooter onto the concrete.
Yeah, totally.
And right before that, you were having like some negative thoughts about your arms. And then immediately after that, you were grateful for your arms for supporting you and couldn't care less about what they look like.
Literally.
And I think, so I've been really into weightlifting and now getting into cold plunge. And
I was watching your reel about this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, please.
Fine.
Yeah. I just am like wondering about that experience because I'm very scared of cold plunge. Like,
you should do it.
Okay, I'm gonna need more evidence. You made it look scary. Oh no.
So it was scary, and then I felt so good.
Oh really?
I can't put it into words. Like the best euphoric high.
Wow. Okay,
and I'm like, that got me wanting to go back.
Wow.
It's intense. It's freaking crazy. And I think it's similar to that scooter incident, but it's like obviously on a much smaller scale because it makes you be so present in your body to where you can't think of any of the negative shit about your body. You can't think about anything else but like being present in here in this moment, dealing with the cold or dealing with the workout or being present in yoga.
I love that so much. Okay, just on the cold plunge shit, I've seen people like do this in the ocean and I'm like, can I do that? I'm scared. So now I really want to do it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think there is a need to like have some kind of practice of just like being able to not think about any of this, anything, like, because everything in life is just like we're living in dreams. So it's like there's so much chaos in life that we believe like has to be there, or like says something about who we are as people. And the chaos is always self-created. It's always just like something that doesn't matter. And being able to pull back from that and be like, who am I? What is real for me? That is just a necessity on a daily basis at this point, because there is so much bullshit happening that it's just like, it like once you get right with your body, then you look at the news. The news is, the things that are happening in this world are insane. Like being, then if you get away from that, then look at your like personal life, look at your family relationships, romantic relationships. It's like, wow, shit, I'm really working out childhood trauma in my relationships. That's great. Okay, that cool. Part. So like, but it's like that, all of that is like, it's fine. It's the lessons that we're choosing to learn in this lifetime. And just being able to remember that and have some kind of separation between church and state feels like imperative.
Well, this is a good segue into something I wanted to talk about really quick. So I was a big Dear Jessamyn stan.
Oh my goodness.
And
yes.
I was so excited that was the first project that I got to work on when I got hired. And like so many of the fans of the show, was so sad to see it go on the pause, because we're just calling it a pause.
Yes.
And so just wanting to know if there are any updates in your polyamory. What is your relationship to polyamory at this moment?
I love that you're like, okay, let's get to the tea. Yeah, actually, I just want to be clear. I'm honored that you give a fuck. I'm humbled by that, honestly.
Many of us give a fuck, I think.
Yeah. No. Oh my God, somebody came up to me at the airport. Whatever, we can talk about this another time. Yeah. So I am polyamorous, and I want to say more about that, because it really has nothing to do with like how many relationships I'm in or am not in. I came out as poly when I was in my early 20s, and it's because I had been unfaithful in like all my relationships, and I started dating somebody who, when we started dating, we were dating other people. So it was like, okay, I can't trust you. What we need to do is find a way to be able to trust each other. And polyamory was the result. And over time, I've come to feel like being poly is more about being in a relationship with myself. And so like cultivating my relationship with myself above all else, so that any other relationship that I'm in is it's a second, third, fourth relationship, because my first relationship is with myself. So that even if I'm not dating anyone else, I'm always dating myself. I am still in partnership with all of my partners. I am my partner. I'm like, should I use people's? It doesn't matter. Well, no. Okay. So I have a partner that I've been with for over a decade, and we lived together for most of that time. They still live in North Carolina, where we're from. And I have a partner that I do Dear Jessamyn with. It is just on a pause. Life got complicated last year, like very, very complicated.
Working with partners, I think, is very,
oh my God,
muy interesante.
Okay, yeah. We need to talk about this because it is a whole thing. And like, it also is the most beautiful relationship of my life. Like, I've never, to be able to work closely with somebody and like, and the thing about my partner that I do Dear Jessamyn with is that she works the same way that I do. We're like, we will work all night long, totally obsessed, and I respect that so much in her. And it's hard to find people that will be like down for it like that. But it is also, I think, when a fire sign and a water sign come together, it is big energy. And like, she and I have big energy, and our relationship needed to evolve at the exact same time that we like finally hit a rhythm with the podcast. And then it was like, we just need to take a break from a couple of these things. And I mean, the reality of the situation is that our relationship has changed a lot, hers and mine. And the thing that I appreciate is that the friendship that we have is what has really survived. And we were friends long before we started dating, our friendship is like, oh, okay, I heard. My landlord is outside doing things on the property. Okay. So if you hear that, that's what that is. But the relationship that we have, I think, got muddled because of the work, and it became about the work rather than who we are to each other. And now I think we can be allied with each other in a way that was really challenging when we were working so close together. So we're still together, or rather, that's not entirely accurate, actually. Our relationship has definitely changed, but we're still very connected and committed to one another, and we're family.
I love that.
But I do have, what has been really cool about that relationship opening up is that I've been able to like date more. And it's been years since I've really been dating, because like, honestly, right before she and I got together, well, when I started dating her, I was dating somebody else who I love. It's a wonderful person. Our relationship ended around the same time that she and I got together. And I also was just like knee deep in projects. My first book had just come out. I was in the midst of writing Yoke, my second book. And that process of writing Yoke was really challenging for me, because it meant that like I was also building the Underbelly from scratch. There's just a lot going on. And I was trying to understand my relationship to sex, because I feel like I have often used sex as a way to control people, as a way to control myself, as a way to like disconnect and disassociate. And it was just a place where I felt like I was not being authentic with myself, and I was not living in my integrity. And there's a principle in yoga called brahmacharya, and it's loosely translated as chastity. And what we could have a whole conversation about brahmacharya, but the main idea that I took away from it is that it's about having a deep connection with yourself and being conscious of who you allow into your energy space and why, and where you offer your energy. And so during this period, I was just like really trying to understand what that meant, and like, should I be having sex at all? I don't know what's going on. And now that during this time that our relationship has opened, I've come to the realization that it doesn't matter. I'm over processing. Fuck who you want. It's not a big deal. Life is life. Enjoy. This is my personal take on it. I'm sure everybody has their feelings, but in that, now I'm like, okay, cool. So I can date around. And this is at the time that I've like randomly decided to move to Northern California, which I had also never considered. And the Bay Area is like wild. Yeah. Like shit is wild here.
Perfect place.
Literally. And the thing is, I've always been really interested in DS, dominant submissive relationships, BDSM, kink. And this is like the epicenter. The Bay Area is the epicenter of that in the United States. So like, I've been going to classes and like been to events and gotten to know a lot of people, and I mean, frankly, like had a lot of interesting sex, and like gotten to be in relationships that, I mean, I've had some interesting experiences where, I don't know, I've actually had like more breakups than I've had maybe in my entire life in the last like year. And I don't know, it just feels like being young. Like I feel like I'm having a good time.
I love that. And I'm happy hearing you say breakups, because I know on Dear Jessamyn you would say that you never could break up with anyone. So.
I love that you know that. Yeah, totally. I literally
understand. I'm a Dear Jessamyn stan.
I didn't like, the only person I ever broke up with before this past year, I had to break up with her because I realized that she and I did not have the same values about Black Lives Matter. It's a whole thing.
Oh,
it was I literally after that I was like, I'm not dating another white person. And it was years before I did. But this is the thing about the white person I chose to date, is that she had some very specific, she had older Black women friends who she'd been friends with for more than a decade. Okay. I was like, that was the only reason why, because otherwise white people are canceled.com. I do love white women. This is the other thing.
Don't even play.
No, this is the thing about it. It's not my fault. Okay. It's actually not my fault. It's fucking, I blame white supremacy and white dolls, and it's just not my fault.
That's
I feel
accurate.
like
You're right. It is not
I was
your
indoctrinated. But I do, whatever. I feel like I also am now dating somebody who's light skinned, which is a whole other thing that I did not know about. That you
That's
know
better though. That's we're slowly coming down.
Oh my god.
Do they
Whatever. My other partner is black.
Yes,
Dark skin with
Your
locks.
longest partner is black AF. We love them.
This is how fucking, and the person that I dated before my other partner, the person I broke up with around the same time, they are also dark skin black, and
you're dating yourself.
And I'm just shut up. I would say also that person is a Pisces, and I just started talking to somebody else who's a Pisces, and I'm like, but I just don't know. They've given me pause around Pisces, Cancer Pisces. Well, you are a Cancer Pisces. Yeah.
Pisces rising.
Do you feel like there's conflict there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
I hate it.
Yeah.
How do you want to talk about it? I'll tell you
why?
Why.
Oh,
okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I went to order some food the other day, and I was completely ignored, and I was the only black person in the space, and I did not want to cry. I wanted to be in my boss bitch. Yeah. Maybe that was a Virgo. And my Pisces was just like, I'm literally like trying to tell him like, I've been waiting, and like literally the tears are like starting to come down my face. And I'm like, get it together, bitch. Like, do not cry right now. And I feel like that was all my Pisces just not letting me win.
That's not letting you win. Damn, that's real though. I love the way the different water signs approach sadness, because Scorpio is like, I'm going to stab you and also tell you about how your death is important to the universe. And Cancers are like, I'm so sad. Yeah. Oh my God, it's dramatic. And then Pisces is like, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Truly lapis lazuli. Do you know Steven's Universe?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is
a
a shortcoming of mine, not knowing Steven Universe.
It is a good show. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay.
I have one last point.
Yeah, okay.
Or not point. So you touched a little bit on chastity, and I wanted to use that as a segue to talk about OnlyFans a bit.
Oh, please.
Because it's been an exciting part of my work with you, and I feel like it's developed and grown, and I feel like we're just now kind of really like figuring out what we really want to do in that space, which is really exciting.
Yes.
But I feel like every time we like talk about it, it's always like still bringing up a lot of
it's triggering as fuck. Yeah. At least for me anyway. Like, I don't know. I did not grow up in a household or community where sexuality was celebrated at all. And that's why I started the OnlyFans, because I was like, we need to have more conversation around sexuality and honestly, like, we don't see fat, naked bodies really ever. So like, it just felt like if my content is getting banned in different places, then I should be putting it out there, however. But what I didn't compensate for was how much internalized biases I have about being on OnlyFans. Like, I'm out here like scared to tell people about it and like worried about how they're going to perceive me. It's interesting that like I'm worried about how other people are going to perceive me and not my parents. I didn't really care about that. I'm like, they'll be all right. They know. They're fucking freaks. They know their job. They know about this. But like, I feel like other people though, I didn't realize how much I cared until I decided to put myself out there like that. And I think that it's also interesting, like being on a team with other people and seeing like how all of us have these same internalized biases. And that though feels like really powerful to me. It feels like the reason to do it. And like, it's hard because I think that when something is scary, the immediate reaction is to just like run in the opposite direction. And for me, I'm scared. But there's also this thing of like, what am I scared of? Am I scared of being seen? Am I scared of being honest? Am I scared of, it's always something like that. Am I scared of my own pleasure? And yes. And just being able to sit in that yes and to know like, this is who I am as a person. Because to me, it doesn't feel like it's about like getting rid of the fear or getting rid of the yes. It's just like, this is who I am. This is what is true. And this is what this life is for, is to recognize that and sit in that. And that feels like a really powerful place of creation. And that feels like something that can be of use to other people. So yeah, I mean, but I think that like being on OnlyFans though is also like really cool and creatively freeing. Social media can be like, I love social media so much. Do you still love social media?
Oh, yeah, I'm obsessed.
Me too. Yeah. I love it so much.
It's
like,
so fun. I mean, you just had a video go viral, which
oh my God,
I feel like this video going viral is a little bit problematic because it's literally you learning a twerk move from a white woman, and I'm like, how is this the thing?
Is she white?
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
No, I don't know. She presents white. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know.
I was just like, how is this the thing that goes viral?
Oh, totally. No, literally. Well, like, that is still interesting to me.
Yeah.
I haven't quite uncovered exactly what's happening with that video. I mean, I think that there's always something with like, when people see a fat person, they're like, fat person. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's some of that, but I love the game of it.
Yeah.
I love I love being in community. I love just like making something and being like, I made this thing. You know, it's just like in school when you're like doing a finger painting and you're like, do you see my finger painting? Mm-hmm. And I love that about it. And I love that the finger painting that you put the least amount of work into is the one that everybody will like the most. Yeah, it's cool.
I think that's a good lesson for life, honestly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like to end each episode by asking, what is something that you're fostering for yourself currently?
Oh my goodness. What I'm fostering for myself right now is rest. I've never valued rest. And I got the Nap Ministries book, Rest is Resistance, and I read about 3 pages of it. And what I got from it was go to sleep. And so I've been trying to do that and not very successfully. I think that right now I'm like getting maybe like 5 hours of sleep if I get a good night. And there's a lot of factors in that. But just even considering rest as a part of my healing and my life, because I'm talking to my therapist about how like Black women were never taught to rest, and like I have this whole thing of like I have to succeed, I have to do a good job, like, and all of that has to be dismantled. And so even just to say it's okay to rest feels really tremendous to me. So yeah, that's what I'm fostering.
I love that so much. Jessamyn, thank you so much
for
taking
Angel,
the time.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for coming here. I appreciate it.
Do you want to plug and promote yourself?
Yes, I do. You can follow me on social media at my name is Jessamyn, and you can follow our yoga studio, the Underbelly, at the Underbelly Yoga. And you can, hell yeah, come on, Cal, absolutely. And you can sign up for a free trial of the Underbelly at theunderbelly.com, and you can find my books and events and everything that I'm doing at jessamynstanley.com.
Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Jessamyn Stanley. I am just so grateful that she agreed to make the time. She is so busy, so I'm just so grateful for her making the time to come on. If you enjoyed this, please rate it, review it. We would really appreciate it. That is what helps the podcast grow. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow here. I want to see our followers grow. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you again for tuning in each and every week. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.